And if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who'd you rather vote for?
I would probably vote again for Donald Trump.
Okay, why do you support Trump?
I support Trump because I think the United States needs a system where we lead the world. If we don't lead the world, then the world will fall apart.
Yeah, we are able to lead the world to a lesser extent when Trump's in office because we actually have less good relationships with our allies, and countries around the world don't view us in the same way. For example, under Trump's first term in 2018, what's it called? Angela Merkel specifically was considered by the EU and by like the bunch of European countries and our allies to be like the quote unquote leader of the free world rather than the Trump administration and Donald Trump, because of the fact that Donald Trump was being so absurd and because countries around the world didn't have confidence in him and he made us look ridiculous on the world stage.
Okay, but if that's the case, then why do countries go to the U.S. and look for intelligence? They look for what you would call the guidance around the world.
Okay. So wait. So I'm confused what you're trying to say there. You understand that they're not looking to us for more guidance when we cut funding for U.S. aid, right?
But
they're not looking to us for more guidance when he slaps tariffs on countries around the world and talks about annexing close allies like Canada, Greenland, and Panama.
But he has to do that. Doesn't matter who's in office.
He does not have to.
Trump has to do this because countries around the world has been financed by the U.S. citizens' tax dollars, me and you, okay? And that money is
Trump's
being
sending
wasted.
$40 billion to Argentina, right? The Republicans had the ability to vote on an amendment to take that $40 billion and use it on Americans to reduce their healthcare premiums. But instead of doing that, they wanted to send the $40 billion to Argentina. They could have extended for 2 years reductions in healthcare premiums for American citizens, but they cared more about money going to Argentina.
Listen, the United States of America and Trump, MAGA, needs to support countries, because if we don't support countries, then the countries will fall apart and they'll always come back to the U.S. for support.
Oh, wait, so you just conceded. So we should have done the same thing with Ukraine, right?
Say that again?
So we should do the same thing with Ukraine, right?
As in, like what, for weapons and supporting them?
We keep them afloat so that Russia doesn't invade and take over their country.
No, I think the U.S. has to support countries, but also the countries need to take their money. We need to take money from these countries equally.
Okay, so that we weren't getting equal money back from Argentina.
No, absolutely not.
I have a question. Are you Canadian?
No, I'm American. Born in Des Moines, Iowa, Altoona, Iowa.
Okay. I grew up in Iowa as well. That's
yeah, I'm from Altoona, Iowa. I live in Altoona, Iowa. Altoona, Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, suburb of Iowa.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar.
So yeah, that's why I say that the U.S. doesn't matter who's in office, but Trump is a business guy, and MAGA needs to put the money into these countries, and we also need to get our money from these countries.
Okay, so then you're totally okay with all the funding that the Democrats did. So can you name one foreign policy standpoint that you disagree with in terms of Democrats in terms of foreign aid?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Yeah, can you say one aspect of foreign aid you disagree with Democrats on?
No, I don't disagree on foreign aid. I don't
disagree. Wasn't that like the reason why you brought up why you agreed with Trump? Like,
I agree that the U.S. has to support the world, but also the world has to pay back the U.S. for what's.
Wait. So, do you think tariffs are paid by the foreign country?
No, they aren't. They're paid by the U.S. citizens.
Okay, yeah. So then, how are they paying us back?
They're paying us back. They're paying us back when Trump goes and does business. Trump is a financial businessman to support.
Bankrupt 6 times.
Say again?
He bankrupt 6 times.
Bankrupt 6 times. That Trump is a businessman, has nothing to do with financial backing. When you take
multiple casinos have been bankrupt under Donald Trump. Can you name one good businessman outside of Donald Trump that has 6 bankruptcies?
Well, Elon Musk has gone to financial corruption too. I mean, financial part too.
He is not bankrupt 6 times.
Listen, when you have to take risk
Yeah,
to go
and
forward.
it's easy to take risk when you inherit $400 million from your dad.
Well, yeah, you're right. When you have backing by somebody else, of course that's going to be true. But every country, every citizen in the world has a backing by someone. It's called
Okay,
financial support.
yeah, but can you make a point that's like relevant? Like, what economic policy has he passed that's been good for us based upon Donald Trump's quote unquote business background?
He's gone to, I would say, the Middle East or what you call Asia to uh, um, get business for countries so that he can help support the technology in the world out there.
Okay, so the level of trade has declined because of the fact that he's imposed tariffs. Tariffs increase the cost of trade between nations, which decreases the level of trade. So if you want to talk about investments into our country, there's less investment and money sent to our country from other countries when we reduce trade by imposing tariffs.
But that's not a policy that's put into place.
Tariffs are a policy put in place.
You have to put policies in place and tariffs in place so that countries and U.S. citizens are paying for this. Listen, nothing is free in this world.
Wait, what?
Nothing is free in this world.
No, what you said before that.
No, I was saying that um, the the U.S. citizens, myself and you, okay, we need to pay for things. As you pay for things, you nothing is free in life. Nothing is free. You have to pay. You have to get quality stuff, right? This is the reason why he's gone around the world to bring the money back to the U.S. in sales. This is the reason why he's also sent his diplomatic teams overseas to help try to make things better. But yeah, I mean, I think it's not only just the president. We have House and Democrats and both sides of the society that need to work together.
Yeah, none of this shows how Trump's better in terms of economic policy.
I'm sorry.
How has Donald Trump passed policy that has made Americans better off economically speaking? Because since he's got in office, real domestic manufacturing investments declined. There have been multiple months of reductions in jobs. Unemployment's increased. Real GDP growth has slowed. Real median wages have growth has slowed. We can point
But
to all of these things.
and do you know the reason why it's declined? Because when he was in office in the first term, okay, and he made America great again. As he made America great again, we had a sleepy president, Mr. Biden, get in office. As he's sleeping in office, everything goes down. And then guess what happens? Now he's back in office and he goes forward.
Okay, so what
This is
went
the
down? Wait. What went down under Sleepy Joe because of Sleepy Joe?
What went down? Everything.
Like
Everything.
what?
As America, everything went down. Everything went down. Why did it go down? Because he reversed the policies that Trump put in place financially to help the United States citizens out. And now we know when he's in office, Trump's going to be in office again for the next 4 years. What is he going to do? Stuff's going to be more expensive. Stuff's going to be, the economy is going to get better. As the
Okay, so
next,
what
next,
policy did Biden pass that caused inflation?
he did, Biden didn't pass anything. That's the
Okay,
problem.
he did pass things: the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, the Chips and Science Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the American Rescue Plan. What are you talking about? He didn't pass policy. Tell me what policy caused inflation.
What policies caused inflation? It- Everything Biden did, it went downhill. Everything
So
from
what
what Trump
policy
did.
did he pass that caused inflation?
He didn't pass any policies. That's the problem with Biden.
I just
They
explained
didn't
to you
agree.
policies he passed: the Infrastructure Bill, the Chips and Science Act, the PACT Act, the Inflation Reduction
Okay.
Act, the American Rescue Plan. What are you talking about? He didn't pass any policies. I just mentioned to
Okay.
you multiple.
Okay. If he passed these policies, then tell me financially how did it help the U.S. citizens?
Yeah, investments in roads and bridges, getting lead out of drinking pipes for clean drinking water, investing in high-speed broadband towards rural communities, right? Increasing the renewable energy infrastructure in the context of the United States, right? I can give you many things. Cleaning up our air and our water and making the conditions healthier, increasing the amount of jobs, right? Reductions in pharmaceutical prices.
So reduction in pharmaceutical prices. Did Trump not pass this for pharmaceutical companies right now?
It was expanded under the Inflation Reduction Act. So originally, if you're talking about the one I was referencing, the $35 cap on insulin, that Trump did an executive order for that for parts of Medicare. All right, and Kamala Harris, through the Inflation Reduction Act, which she was the tie-breaking vote on, and Joe Biden, they passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which capped insulin at $35 per month for everyone on Medicare, not just for those on parts of Medicare. And then she was
So you're
advocating to
saying
expand it to everyone, not just for people who are on Medicare.
so you're saying that he reduced the stuff, but as he reduced it later, Trump, my president, even reduced it even more.
Wait, repeat that,
Is that,
sorry?
is that I said, so you're saying that while Biden was offered, he passed all these policies and laws and whatever it may be, right? And Trump only made them better by reducing more, adding more. And listen, technology and all this stuff, these American citizens, he made them better.
Okay. So one, you're not actually giving me a reason why Biden caused inflation, which I'm just going to give it to you at this point. Biden didn't cause inflation. It was global inflation. It happened all around the world. It was not due to the Biden-Harris administration. It was supply chain issues relating to the pandemic, right? Had nothing to do with Biden. Okay, so you blaming him is
That's true
ridiculous.
on that.
Secondly,
You're right on that.
Trump literally ran on tariffs, which increased prices and put upward pressure on prices. He ran on policies, putting upward pressure on prices, while simultaneously saying that he was going to reduce prices. He lied to you. He conned you, and you bought the con.
No, he didn't
You
lie
did.
to you. What? So he didn't lie to anyone.
So then why are
Trump
they saying that they're getting rid of some tariffs for more affordability?
getting rid of tariffs for more affordability.
Yeah.
No,
Why are Republicans saying that they're getting rid of tariffs in some instances because they want to address the affordability crisis?
listen, to make America great again, you have to raise the cost of stuff. You have to pay what the world's paying.
So
Not
actually, everybody, in order to make America so great, we have to actually cause inflation. Okay, everybody, we have to make it worse for Americans by causing more
okay.
inflation. We actually have to
If
increase
that's
unemployment. Okay, we have to make America
if
worse
that's
off. I promise you that.
if that's the case, then tell me the reason why poverty rate during Biden was a huge problem. Cost of living in the U.S. has skyrocketed because of
They're a
the people
problem
that
under
are.
both administrations. Okay, the
You're absolutely
Biden-Harris
right. You're right.
administration does more to address poverty because we actually pass policies to address it. For example, the increase in the child tax credit to under the American Rescue Plan reduced childhood poverty by 45% when implemented under the American Rescue Plan under Biden's administration. So they actively do things to a greater extent to address childhood poverty in this country, whereas Republicans pass policies that increase the level of poverty by cutting people off their access to food stamps and Medicaid, and by restricting children's access to free school lunch and breakfast to the tune of 420,000 children on average every single month in this country, right? 2.5 million people off their access to food stamps on average every single month, and over 10 million people off their access to health insurance in the big beautiful bill, by adding $3.4 trillion to the debt. So not only is he less fiscally responsible, and he adds more to the debt, over 4 trillion more in his first administration, and since he's got in office, he's added over 3 trillion, which means over 2 trillion signed into law every year of his administration, because that's over 11 trillion, right? Over 2 trillion per year he signs into law because he's been in office for less than 5 years.
Correct.
Okay, so
But
then why would you support
his,
this guy? He's economically atrocious. His character is atrocious. He's called of Democrats and his political opponents because they told people to defend the Constitution, uphold the Constitution, by literally saying that people should not follow unlawful orders. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous. This is straight up fascism that Donald Trump's advocating for. And I can't sugarcoat it. That's fascism, is it not?
sir, I just want to give you a heads up so you're aware. Unfortunately, we young community around the world, the 20-somes, we look at what's in the past, okay? And when we don't look what has already happened years ago. I'm talking the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, right? If we're not looking at that to make us better, then we can't. We young kids in our 20, like college kids and 20s, early 30s, we can't go forward, and that's part of the agreement. That's part of
Yeah,
the like.
so Donald Trump's actively doing things to limit the level of history we're talking about and engaging in historical revisionism. You understand that, right? So if you're making this point of we have to look at the past in order to be able to respond to the future, well, then why is the Trump administration going after books? Why is the Trump administration going after, right, educational resources about systemic racism in this country, slavery, right? Jim Crow laws in the aftermath? Why is Donald Trump actively undermining, right, the stories of veterans and soldiers that were in the context of the military that are African American and black?
Because America is a country of the world. America is people from all over the world.
That's not
Okay,
an
but
argument.
because what happens is they let the borders open under the Biden
The
administration,
borders were not
and
open.
even
Can you define what an open border is?
open border means people come in the country.
Okay, that
It
happens
doesn't matter
right now.
how
That
they.
happened under Trump in his first term and now. Has there been an open border under Trump's first term, and is there an open border now because people are coming right now?
They happened before Trump's first term. It happened during Trump's first term. It happened hugely during
Wait, so under
Biden's term.
Trump's first term there was an open border?
There wasn't an open border. I say there
But there were
wasn't. It
people coming
wasn't,
to the country undocumented.
and there wasn't under Biden's.
Under Biden, there was, but under Trump's first term, there was as well. Under this term, there is as well.
Yeah.
Your
So
argument for there
now
being an
he's
open border was just that there was undocumented immigrants coming to the country. That's
there's
obviously not an argument for an open border. Typically, what people mean in terms of an open border or what it's referring to is no restrictions on the border, which is an obvious and blatant lie, and it's propagandistic. The Democrats absolutely advocate for restrictions on the border. You might they advocate for less restrictions in certain contexts, but that does not mean that they're advocating for an open border. It is dishonest for the right to continue to advocate that the left is engaging in advocating for an open border. The vast majority of Democrats disagree with the idea of no restrictions on the border.
Yes, all these people have come to America. They're taking away jobs.
So they're not taking jobs. That's ridiculous. You just don't understand economics.
So you're saying that a lot of these young people don't want to work? They're too lazy?
No, I think that actually immigrants coming to the country have a higher labor force participation rate, but that does not mean that they're taking jobs. It means that they're adding to the job pool in this country, because not only when they come to the country and fulfill jobs are they working jobs, but they're also demanding goods and services, which causes there to be a greater level of demand in our economy, which would increase the amount of jobs that are created to compensate for that level of increased need for a capacity. So since there's an increase in supply, there's also an increase in demand because they have money to spend in our economy, which causes jobs to be created, which inevitably leads to a
But
larger
are
economy overall. Not only are there more jobs being fulfilled, but there are more jobs in the economy that are open now because of the increased labor market or in consumer
So, Mr.
market.
Parker, are you telling me that these people that come into the United States of America illegally put the money back in the country? No, they send that money back home to their countries.
Wait,
That's how they
okay,
support their families.
so there's a percentage that people send back to their countries in plenty of circumstances. That's not specific to undocumented immigrants, and also that's not wrong. What's wrong with sending money to a different country? Is it wrong for me to donate to a Canadian streamer on TikTok? Is that wrong?
I'm sorry, say the last part again.
Would it be wrong for me to donate to a Canadian streamer on TikTok?
It wouldn't necessarily be wrong.
Oh,
You're going to do whatever
that's
makes
the
you
same
happy.
thing. That's the same. I'm sending money out of the country. So why would it not be wrong for me to do it, but it is wrong for them to do it? That seems absurd to me.
No, what I'm saying is if they're coming in the country and they're not spending the money in the country, that doesn't make America great
Wait,
again.
wait, wait. That's the same thing with me. I didn't spend the money in the country. Should it be illegal for American citizens to do the same? If not, then you are reducing how much money is spent in the United States because you're allowing that money to be spent on other countries around the world. If I didn't spend that money specifically on donating to the person that lives in Canada, I could have spent that money on somewhere here in the United States. So would you make it illegal for American citizens to buy things from other countries around the world because that money could have been spent here in the United States?
No, but when
You just conceded.
no, when the American people are buying cheap made foreign products, Chinese that is,
Are you
they
calling
don't
them? Are
last.
you calling Americans stupid for buying those products? Because
I'm
when
not
they
calling them
chose to buy
stupid.
those products, they value the product more than they value the money that they're giving to the people who made the product. That's how
No,
voluntary, mutually beneficial voluntary exchanges work, is that you value the product you're getting more than the money that you're giving to them. Otherwise, you wouldn't have engaged in the transaction in the first place. So are you calling Americans stupid for preferring to buy these products
so, so,
comparative to other
so,
products in the market?
so, Mr. Parker, you're telling me that basically buying cheap products on one side of the house. Have you been to China?
No.
Okay, let me just tell you this how it works in China. Okay? One side of the store, one side of the road, products that are made proper. They stay in country. The other side of the road, exact same company, exact same laborers are making cheap products, sending out of the country. They're US kids under the Biden administration. These are kids. We, myself included, we're young. We want to
One,
be
that's not
healthy.
specific to China. Two, that has I don't know what that has to do with China. That what?
China is our kids. We are
Kids are not
being
hitting
killed.
anxiety pens because of the fact that China exists. Okay, if China literally, if China didn't send them to us, kids would still be hitting the anxiety pen.
Well, they're
Okay.
they're hitting anxiety because they're coming in through Mexico because of Biden. Biden opened up the trade.
No, you understand that. Wait, you understand? I was in high school prior to Trump, prior to Biden being in office, and kids were hitting anxiety pens all the time. So you're just lying.
Yes, because they're getting
They
this
they
stuff
would literally
illegally.
they would literally go to the bathroom to hit the anxiety pen and like straight up box the bathroom, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
That's
of
been
course.
happening. That's not unique to Biden's administration. That was happening when Trump was president.
It happens on both sides. It happens on Biden's, especially on Biden's. It happened the last after COVID. After COVID, it didn't matter who, Biden, Trump. Unfortunately, it was during Biden's time because they never corrected things for 4 years. You had
Okay, so
Sleepy
so
Joe in
so the
office.
same thing happened under Trump. You're just not willing to acknowledge it. Okay,
No, I'm
why
not
are you
saying it.
why are you blaming immigrants in foreign nations for problems caused in the context of the United States? Right? It's ridiculous for you to sit there and say that. Most DRUGS that are brought across the border are brought across by U.S. citizens. Over 90% of DRUGS brought across the border are brought by U.S. citizens. Stop manufacturing lies about people coming from countries around the world in order to make yourself feel better and sleep better at night because you get to then project your hate, right, onto immigrants.
I'm not projecting my hate
You
on
are.
immigrants.
You are, though. Like, objectively
I, I,
speaking.
I'm, I am saying that borders are important. Unfortunately, borders have been put in
No
place
one's
because
disputing
America.
that. Wait, we never advocated against borders. It's dishonest for you to say that we advocate against borders. We still think borders should exist. The disagreement that we have on the context of the scenario is that I think law enforcement should be focusing on scenarios that are actually a threat to the safety and security of our population and not deporting people's grandmothers and grandfathers and siblings, right? And their parents that are literally just coming here for a better life, right? And they're working, they're good citizens, right? Why are 70% of people that are detained by ICE people that have had no prior criminal record? That shouldn't be happening. That's absurd.
Of course, you're always going to get the problem. You're always going to get the problem where some, some, there's not always going to be 100% correction in everything. We know this. When high school was like this, you know, this is just how it is. You can't correct 100% of the things. But when you have a president like Biden in office that wasn't doing his job, and you have Trump that has to correct everything, yes, you're going to have these problems, and people are going to judge that situation.
Okay. So we do advocate for putting people, or I mean, deporting people who have committed violent crimes and bad crimes, right? The issue isn't the Biden policy. The issue is that they didn't talk about it enough. Okay?
Okay, but and I understand that. I
You
understand
you agree? Do you agree with
that the
making the
Biden.
legal immigration process go quicker?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you agree with making the legal immigration process go quicker?
I believe anything should go quicker if it's done correctly and
Yeah, the
honest.
legal immigration process. You think it should go quicker? Do you think we should prioritize deporting those that have committed violent crimes and bad crimes comparative to deporting those that have not?
Listen, I think that if anybody come in the country illegal, I don't care if they're working
Should we
properly or
prioritize deporting those that have committed violent crimes and bad crimes to those that have been into the country undocumented that have not?
Doesn't matter. If they've come in the country illegally, after
Absurd.
Libya's to buy. They need
Okay,
to.
so
If you come into, listen, if you,
okay, so if you think if you
you're right to
violate the
say,
law, wait, so you think if you violate the law, you should be held accountable. So do you think that the Trump administration should have to follow due process in deporting people?
if you come in the country illegally and you are not a U.S. citizen, you don't have any proper way to get in the country. That means a 10-year visa, a passport, whatever, a tourist visa, as long as it's the overstayers, it's the legal immigrants that come in the country. And that are, you want to think, oh, well, they're not causing problems. Okay, they're not causing problems, but too bad you
What was
already
my
came in the country.
question?
Your question was, should we deport these people?
No, I was asking you about due process.
Yes, I do believe in due process, but the problem is a lot of American tax dollars
Okay,
are
so
wasted
I
on due
was
process.
saying if undocumented immigrants need to go through the legal process to get to the country, does Donald Trump need to go through due process to deport them?
No, no,
No. So
no.
you're saying that Donald Trump does not need to go through the legal process to deport them, but undocumented immigrants to get to the country do need to go through the legal process. You're a hypocrite. You believe that Trump is above the rule of law. You believe he's a king because you believe that he can violate laws that you think no one else should be able to violate. It's absurd.
It's
Those are
not
constitutionally
Trump.
protected rights.
It's
Everyone
not
within the
Trump.
jurisdiction of the
It's
country gets due process. Everyone within the jurisdiction of
there.
the country. That is a
Sir,
constitutionally protected right.
if you come in the country, if you come in the country illegally, it doesn't matter what you do. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
if you come
go to
into the country
border.
undocumented, you get due process for committing that crime. Why? Because in order for us to determine that you commit said crime, we have to utilize due process to do so.
Did
I
you
do
have
not
due
think we
process
have a
coming in the
legitimate
country?
process in determining in doing so if they do not go through the context of an immigration court.
Because this is the tax dollars that are being wasted under Biden's administration because they didn't. These people came in illegally. If they
The
came in
Trump
illegally,
administration is the one literally wasting money because their deportation process is extraordinarily costly, not only to our long-term revenues because you're deporting people from the country, but also because it costs money to deport people, and we have to increase the funding specifically in terms of law enforcement that we could have otherwise directed towards making the legal immigration process go quicker and incentivizing undocumented immigrants to go through said legal immigration process. It's absurd that you support Donald Trump's policies on immigration as they literally do not cause us to be more safe and more secure, and they cause the conditions at the border to lead to literally less levels of safety and security.
no, that's not the case. No, it's not the case. You're going to think America is safe because of having this due process with people trying to say, oh, they need to be part of the legal system. No, I'm sorry. If you came in the country illegally, please go to the border, go back to your country, and then do the process correctly.
You're not understanding though. You're saying it's wrong for them to violate the law, but it's okay for you to advocate for the law to be broke. You're a hypocrite. You think it's totally
If
okay
I'm
to
a
violate the
hypocrite,
law because
I'm
it
a
would take too
hypocrite.
long to go through the legal process, huh? That sounds like the exact reason undocumented immigrants come to the country. Because the current legal process right now, it takes too long to go through. So they come into the country undocumented because otherwise the legal process would have taken too long or been too costly. Huh. It sounds like the exact reason the Trump administration utilizes to justify violating people's due process rights would be a justification in of itself for undocumented immigrants to come to the country.
Yes. As I say again, if you do something wrong, you need to leave. I don't care how the system
What?
works.
You're not making. You just contradicted yourself. What are you saying? What do you mean? You said
I'm saying
yes
that
and then
if
said
you-
what?
I'm saying if you come to the country illegally, okay, it doesn't matter. Go to the airport. And they pay their own flight home. U.S. tax dollars shouldn't be paying this.
Wait. So if they don't
Correct.
pay, if they don't pay for it, then what happens? Do they get to stay?
No,
Okay, so then how do they go?
they pay all the money they made in the country.
Why would they pay for it?
How did they come in the country to begin with?
Wait, no. Why would they pay for it? If they want to stay, why would they pay for their flight to leave? I feel like they would
How
just
did they
choose not
come
to
in?
pay for it.
How did they come in the country to begin with, sir? Let's look at the very
I don't
first
know. It
chapter.
depends on the scenario. Sometimes people come to the country through a legal mechanism and then overstay a visa.
Okay, so there's the problem. Overstay the visa. Overstay the visa.
Well,
That's their problem.
You should ask Elon about that one because Elon violated immigration law in coming to our country.
You know why he violated? Do you know why he violated? He violated, and then he went through the system correctly.
But you would have advocated for him to be deported, right?
I would advocate for him to be deported and come back in the system correctly. Yes.
But he didn't do that. So then, Would you advocate to denaturalize him?
I mean, it's up to the law system.
Would you want to denaturalize him?
It's up to the law system, whatever the laws put in place. If that's, listen, Elon Musk should be treated no different than any other citizen.
Yeah, so deport us, right? Get him the fuck out of
Say
this
again?
country, right?
Say again?
Get him the fuck out of the country, right?
Well, I do think, with all due respect, and your language is kind of like not appropriate, but yeah, I think yes.
Didn't you say that exact same language?
I said what?
Didn't you earlier say that you wanted to get like everyone out of the country?
No, I'm talking about colorful language. I'm not talking about.
Oh, me saying
Well, I'm saying that there's a time and a place and a professionalism on any kind of system. This is the problem with the world. We are teaching these young kids, right? As myself also being 24, we are teaching these kids that it's appropriate to do things wrong. It's okay
oh,
for
you're
it's
wait, you're
okay,
24? I thought you were 60, bro.
60, yeah, 24, two
You
four.
sound like 40 to 60. I'm not trolling.
Yeah, that's okay. I sound older, maybe because I have health issues.
I'm
So you're
sorry to hear that.
backstabbing me.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No,
Well, I definitely
that's
don't think
okay.
I disagree with that prescription. Like I didn't know that. I apologize.
No, that's what. No, what I'm trying to say, sir, is, and with all due respect, you know, we as younger folks, we need to educate our kids, younger ones. I'm talking like in high school and younger, and also look up to the older folks for guidance.
Hey, dude, I don't know what my issue is with me saying dude. I don't need
No,
to be the
no,
most professional person.
yeah,
This isn't a
no.
professional context. I'm debating people on a live stream about why they support Trump. It's not supposed to be the most
But
professional standpoint. I'm literally in my pajamas right now, dude.
that's wrong. That's not wrong. You probably have your speedo underwear on. I don't really care.
No,
That's not the
I
point.
have the Grinch pajamas on.
Those are
They're
cool,
super
brother.
soft, man.
That you have to enjoy yourself. That's the most important thing, right? Take care of
Yeah,
ourselves while we're
dude.
young.
Yeah, dude. That's
While
why
we're
I don't even give a shit about professionalism, right?
yeah. No, what I'm just trying to say is, hey, as long as we take care of our heart and mind, that's what matters. We have to change we have to change the society of the world. Being from Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, Altoona, Iowa, U.S. We we
I grew up in the QC. I get growing up in Iowa. I grew up in a
yeah,
conservative
Midwest.
Christian household in Iowa.
There we go. Exactly. Same here. You know, and I'm not saying that's good and bad, but what I was going back to when I was saying is there's a professional way to how to speak to people and stuff and have a conversation professionally. You know, the Midwest is a fabulous place. I know LA or California or Chicago or Colorado's a great place, but wherever people are, we have to respect and talk professionally to each other. You know, I'm not saying everything Trump has done. I'm not saying everything Biden's done, right?
I mean, do you
Unfortunately, it's
apply that standard to Trump, dude? Seriously, like he is the complete opposite of that. What do you mean talking about like we need to respect people? You can't say that as someone who's supporting Trump. Like it's honestly
okay.
like it's like cringe. It's low key like cringe
Okay,
for me to
so
hear, man. Like genuinely,
okay,
like
so Mr.
I
Parker,
can just see the hypocrisy. Like you have an issue with
so
me saying and shit, but you don't have an issue with Donald Trump saying "Be quiet, piggy," right? To a woman who's a reporter, right? Or Donald Trump having nicknames for every single person he runs up against specifically to degrade them.
so do you think there? So you're telling me, I'm just curiosity here. You're saying that the MAGA and President Trump has not done anything good, not one thing.
No, I'm not saying that he hasn't done something I have agreed with, like for example, Operation Warp Speed. But anything that he's done that I would agree with is to a lesser extent than what Democrats would have done. So I mean, the idea that I agree with him would be up he agrees with some level of Social Security existing. Just because he agrees with some level of Social Security existing does not mean that he holds a better position on the level of Social Security that people should be able to get access to, right? Or for example, with Medicare or Medicaid, because he agrees with some level of Medicare or Medicaid, well, we can talk about Medicaid. That doesn't mean that I agree with the level of Medicaid that he's advocating for. In terms of what Biden is advocating for comparative to Trump, I agree more with how much Biden is. Yet, I agree with Trump up to a certain extent that obviously he agrees that some people should be covered by it. Does that make sense? Like, but that's an absurd standpoint because there's nothing that you could bring up about Trump that would be better than any attribute that Kamala Harris has. Literally,
Well,
every attribute Kamala Harris has is better than Trump.